Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecticut at Your Service. My name is Carmen Nieves, and I am your host. And we come to you live each Tuesday at 6:30, where we feature individuals that are subject matter experts that are looking to inform, engage, entertain us, and share some amazing information. Today, my guest is from Black Girls Do Reviews, the accelerator for micro influencers. And wait till you hear all the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. Kendra Thomas is a content creator, marketing professional, and she has over 1.2 million views on her social media pages. Kendra, welcome to our show, girl.
I know.
Since I have been trying to get you here.
I know. We tried a long time. We did.
So tell me a little bit about you and some of your background, and then let's get into why this is so important. So share with us, and thank you for being here.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having me and being flexible. I know we tried so hard to make this happen. So my name is Kendra Thomas. I was born and raised here in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and went to the University of Connecticut for marketing. I just have always had a passion for all things marketing. Once I graduated in 2016, I moved to South Florida, started working professionally in marketing, and have continued just in marketing, doing everything related to marketing, from social media to graphic design to doing it professionally for the company that I work for. And then came Black Girls Do Reviews. So in the pandemic, in quarantine, a friend and I decided that we were going to tell the real deal about food we were tasting and restaurants and anything that we liked, makeup, all that, give the real review, because other influencers weren't really doing that, we felt. So that's where we built the platform Black Girls Do Reviews, and overnight it just kind of blew up. I started talking about dating and my love life and started a series called How to Get a Husband in 10 Months.
I love that. How do we find that?
Oh, okay.
I already have a husband of over 35 years, so not for me, but some of our viewers.
It didn't work for me, so I don't know if anybody wants to look that up. But it just kind of started happening overnight, where started getting lots of likes and comments and views, and people really engaging and building a community. So now Black Girls Do Reviews. On TikTok, we have about 53,000 followers, and then on Instagram, just crossed the 2,000 follower mark. So all in all, a community of 55,000 people just engaging with content that I've been posting related to travel, love, makeup, hair, anything you can think of, just giving the real review on those things.
And I love that. So we found some stats,
okay, and
we're going to put them up, and for you to talk a little bit about those. So here's the first one.
Yeah, so what we're noticing in the influencer and in the marketing world is that young Americans are already likely to post about their daily life. So I'm sure we all see young people posting, and even older people, all ages alike. Everyone is posting on social media these days, especially about the brands they like. If you really enjoy a restaurant, if you really enjoy a clothing item, you're gonna post about it just kind of naturally. And most young people would become an influencer if they had the opportunity. So what we're seeing is that this is really becoming a career that people are pursuing. They're doing it already organically. So people are now figuring out, like, if I can already do it naturally, maybe I can put some dollars to this and really make a career out of it. And most young people would do that if they had the opportunity. They would work with brands and they would promote them and post about them on their social media.
And if you think about it, people are posting brands now and making anything. Yeah. And I will tell you, we were having this conversation before the show, that there's different spheres of influencers, right?
Yeah.
And this next slide, I want to get into some stuff on the next one, but actually it's two slides, the next slide after this one, but tell me a little bit about this one first.
Sure. So this is really informing what brands and companies who would pay influencers, what they're thinking. So just seeing the other side of the spectrum. So most consumers, so us everyday people who are buying things, we trust micro influencers more than celebrities or traditional ads, which is very different. So there was a time where if a celebrity endorsed it, kind of think of like the Wheaties box. If there was a celebrity on there, that's what people went for. Nowadays, people actually trust everyday ordinary people, word of mouth, just people that they connect with, trust them more than celebrities endorsing or even an ad. Which is really something that someone who makes decisions on where they should put their marketing budget wants to know. Chief marketing officers are increasing their budgets on influencers. So there's money out there that's coming to influencers, people who've built platforms. Now, it's becoming like a solidified segment or a career or industry that marketing officials and professionals are really looking into now. And then the last stat, they're just saying that 23% of marketers are going to spend more of their budget on influencers. So like I said, it's really becoming a part of strategies for companies overall. So it used to be a time where, you would laugh at someone who was posting their dinner or posting things like that. Now it's serious business. People are making careers out of it.
You see that picture?
Yeah, it's serious business now for someone to post where they're eating and what they're, spending their money on. And now companies are rewarding that and really paying people for that.
I mean, my husband and I, when we look for things to do, it's like restaurants that really stick out. So we look at people that we know. Oh, they've been there. They like it. If they like it, we'll like it. That kind of thing.
Exactly.
Plus, that's the only way I can keep track of my kids.
Yes, exactly.
On social media. This last slide that I want to show before we get into the real deep conversation is what really impressed me, because it talks about individuals that have between 1,000 and 100,000 followers on social media are really micro influencers. I'm like, damn, I'm one of those.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about that, because that's really what helped you kind of launch, and start really investing into the research of what you do for a career.
Yeah, so I always tell people everyone has a platform at this point. Most people have, but a lot of us have more than 1,000 followers on our social media platforms. So you are a micro influencer, whether you think about it or not, or actively pursue it or not. You have a sphere of influence. We all do. But especially on social media, once you cross that 1,000 threshold, you really could be pursuing a career as a micro influencer, working with brands and establishing yourself in the marketplace to really collaborate and promote on your social media platforms. And that's what a lot of people, I feel like, struggle with, right? They don't think that with their smaller numbers, they may not be in the millions, but with their smaller numbers that they can actually earn money for what they're doing, and you can. And it goes back to that earlier point we made, that people actually trust micro influencers, people who don't have really large platforms, because you feel real, you feel authentic, you feel like the friend, you feel like, you haven't been bought, right? Like your opinion is 100% valid and I can trust what you're saying. And so it's really, you being in that smaller group, you get to really interact with your audience, connect with people. And so use your platform if you have it.
So you developed the need for people that needed to kind of earn money. And then your solution was to help individuals kind of create a presence?
Yeah. So what I've noticed in connecting with other people who have seen me establish my platform is they ask questions like, how do I do this? Like, how do I create this content? I want to post every day, but I don't know what to post every day. And I have to go to work, but how do I make time for this? So trying to give people tools to balance their work life with posting on social media, but then also remembering how to post consistently, right? So here's some tips, here's some tricks, here's some planning things you can use, here's some strategy, really kind of giving people tools to enable them to continue on and grow on their own.
And the last little bullet on there was that in 2022, this was a $16 million business.
Yeah.
Is it million or billion? Million.
It is billion.
Billion.
Yes. So the idea there is that influencer marketing, so influencers, people on social media, this is a career now, right? And I know like before social media even existed, no one probably imagined that you could make a career out of just posting on Facebook or Instagram, but people are making careers out of doing just that, just posting on social media.
So what's the difference between a micro influencer and a full-blown influencer? Is it just a number of people that follow you?
It is. So because this is a emerging industry, you're going to find different benchmarks for that. So there isn't one hard, fast rule on this is when you're that, this is when you're that. But typically, I would say a micro influencer is that 1,000 to 100,000 follower. You're a micro influencer. And then as you continue to grow, you'll go from micro to macro influencer. And then there's the mega influencers, who are the people who have millions of followers. And, you know, we see them all the time, and they're known for being influencers online.
So in your experience, what are some ways that people are becoming influencers? So you mentioned if people go to a restaurant or, you know, they like a certain brand, but what are some other ways in your experience that people have had something to say and people are following what they're saying? So
this goes to like my number one tip whenever I'm talking to people who are struggling with posting content, and it's that just record what you every day ordinarily do, right? So if you are, I always make the example, I have a cousin who's a dog groomer, and that's her profession. She does that for a living. I always tell her, just record yourself grooming your dog. And you're gonna do it anyway. This is, you know, your everyday thing that you do. But if you record that, you can really build an audience based on people watching you shave dogs, right? So that's really what I see a lot of micro influencers do, is it kind of accidentally happens. And like it was in my case, where I just am talking about dating and we'll see what happens, right? A lot of people do that, and it goes to the other points that I'll make around like just knowing your voice and staying true to who you are, right? So you don't want to try to create a fake persona, because you can't keep that going long enough, right? But if you're posting and just enjoying what you're talking about, whatever it is, right? I've seen all kind of influencers, from, like I said, hair, makeup, restaurants, travel, anything you can think of, anything that you enjoy. But if you can consistently and regularly talk about it, and it's who you actually are authentically, then people build their platforms that way.
Have you seen any shifts with the different generational? Because I know you mentioned the 80s, the 90s. Mm-hmm. What are some of the trends that you see? What are people talking about?
So just in when I'm consuming, right, like not putting my marketing hat on, but when I'm consuming, so surprisingly enough, I feel like folks in older generations on TikTok are dancing a lot, which is something that's refreshing to see. So you see a lot of people engaging, dancing on social media. But then a lot of people use their platforms to have discussions and dialogue. So lots of people just offering sage advice and wisdom, affirmations, things that help them along. Definitely see a lot of couples. So you'll see different relationship folks who talk about their marriages and things that help them get by, how they keep things romantic and date nights. So that would say kind of the older generations kind of run that portion of it, I would say. I think for more in the middle age range, it can vary from traveling. You'll see a lot of different travel groups where people have built social media platforms around connecting people who want to travel but may not have a friend group to travel with. Yeah. So you'll see a lot of those different travel groups, I think, in that middle range. And then younger, I think it gets back to like dancing and just having a good time on social media.
I got a bad knee, so I don't dance. But I feel like in this stage in my life, family is really big for me. So experiences, like my grandkids playing softball, and you know, and the way my grandson, my younger grandson smiles.
Yes.
And just all those, that's where I'm at. And I find that, I remember one time I posted like a picture of me and my grandson, and that got so many hits.
Yes.
But then I post something about people needing like jobs or whatever, I get a couple of shares. So I think it's, you know, one of the things, because you and I are in the University of Bridgeport Accelerator Program. And a matter of fact, we were talking a little bit about marketing today. And it was about just the things that you were saying about the consistency, about building trust. That's huge, right? Because the people say, if you say that this is a great place, that's someplace. And I was doing a little research on social medias, and this was on Wix blog. And as I talk about each one, feel free to kind of talk about that.
Okay.
When you were talking about your friend with the dog, I was like, that's number 2, develop tutorials and tips, which I thought was great. Share your blog. Do you have a blog? Do you recommend that people have a blog?
I think if
that's more heavy. Like
it is. So my biggest caution with blogs is that you have to be consistent and regular with your blogs. Like you cannot fall off, because you're asking people usually to go to a separate website. So it may not be on their Instagram feed. You're taking them away from Twitter. You're taking them somewhere else. So if you want them to move somewhere else, it needs to be consistent. You can't do one blog and then we don't hear from you for another 3 months, and then you're back again, and then we don't hear from you again. Like, you have to be ready to go with a blog. So I always tell people, if you're going to do a blog, you almost want to create like a whole library of your blog posts and then launch them. So that way you know, that way you know you have 12 ready to go and continue to go from there, versus trying to do them one at a time.
Because then it takes a lot, because that's a more of a deeper dive. So here it's showed, published industry headlines, right? So if you follow anybody that's credible with what you believe, how do you feel about that? About people sharing other people's posts and things?
I like that as an idea to make sure you're regularly posting. So a lot of times people struggle with feeling like they have to reinvent the wheel or concoct like whole ideas for what am I going to post today. Like, I know I need to get something out there, and that almost becomes so heavy that you don't even get anything out because you struggled with coming up with the idea. So if you can find something that you find interesting and add your color commentary to it, I think that just adds to the conversation and gives your spin to it, especially if you have an interesting take or unpopular opinion or see it a little differently than the masses do. I think that's definitely something that takes the weight off of you from having to create, but then also allows you to add in your own little flavor.
And I've seen some of these before, like people that do like a daily quote. They do that like every day. Conduct an interview. Like, one of the things that I do, because I do a lot of outreach for my regular job, so I go out where there's people vending their businesses. I'll go around and I'll talk to them, and I'll Facebook Live it. I don't go beyond Facebook.
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know what happened to that. So, but there's so many different avenues, and it doesn't have to be cookie cut.
No.
And I tell people, there's enough for everybody.
Absolutely.
There's no reason why not to collaborate. Here are some other tips. Let your audience meet the people in your circle.
Yeah.
It talks about putting the spotlight on people that either do business from you or give customers a behind the scenes, which is what you were talking about. Film that every day.
Yeah.
One of my girlfriends, Alicia, was an artist, and she was talking about how she was posting things, and one day all she was doing was putting her paint, because she does like murals and things, and she was like, you would not believe the amount of people that were following, liking, commenting on just a regular thing. Creating previews and upcoming offerings. One of my friends, Eddie Transcendent Martinez, I got to give him some love. So he's always about, if somebody posts something, try to reply to it, so that your followers know that you see that they're looking.
Absolutely.
Does that have merit?
Yes, that's one of my favorite rules of thumb is, if someone comments, you have to respond to the comment. Even if it's just giving them a heart back, if it's telling them like, thank you so much for that comment. One, it engages your community and lets them know, like, I'm not some robot, I'm not some faraway person. I appreciate you engaging with my content. But on the back end, and this is like more technical, this is my marketing hat on, it tells the algorithm, or like the coding in the platform, so on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, it tells the algorithm this is content that other people might be interested in, right? I was able to get someone to comment, and now I'm commenting and a conversation is starting over here. So now the algorithm will believe, I need to push this content to other people. Other people need to see this because other people might be engaged and want to engage with it. So that's kind of more technical and like more inside scoop, but it is worthwhile to always comment back when someone comments, like back when they like you, like do all of the kind of engaging things.
To keep on top of.
It is.
Somebody does like a birthday post. I remember people like on your birthday, because social media is so great. It's like, and my friends think, oh my God, you remember it. I'm like, girl, if you only knew.
For sure.
Whatever, I'm giving you that.
Yep.
But then it's like, it'd be like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and it just becomes really hard to kind of like keep on top of. We have about 10 minutes, and I really want to there's so many things, so let me just read these really quick.
Okay.
give a behind the scenes, create a preview, unbox a product, right? If you really love something or you're tasting something, or, you know, we've had guests on from Sound Coffee, Fit State Distillery, you know, we had a gentleman that had a car detailing. All these things are like really, really important. Run contests and giveaways, host and promote live events, team up with another brand. Like if you really like something, team up with them. My girlfriend Margarita, who's a roaster as well, and she blends her own coffees too. I was like, you know, and she was traveling, and I said, along the way, maybe you can have conversations with the people, and they could buy you a cup of coffee. I bought her a $75 cup of coffee because I had sponsored, you know, other people that, don't tell my husband, but I think he knows now. I think he knows now because he watches faithfully. But it's all these different things that if so I want to get into the nitty gritty of kind of, so here we gave you ideas. We said, well, we're giving our viewers ideas. We talked about the different ways that you can become an influencer and how anybody that has over 1,000 followers is already a micro influencer. How does somebody get to that next level? What is it, some of the work that you're helped other people with that has helped them to get, like, what are do you have like a top 3 or top 5 rules of kind of like developing your brand and your...
Sure. So you have to post consistently. Like, that's a hard stop. You have to post consistently. Any brand that's going to engage with you, anyone that's going to, you know, collaborate with you, needs to see that you're regularly doing this and you're not posting once and never again. So you have to post consistently. My tip and trick on posting consistently is planning ahead. So a lot of times you can get a week's worth of content done in one sitting, right? So maybe with this interview, if you chop this up into 5 different pieces, now you've accomplished a week's worth of content with one sitting. So there's ways you can plan your content so you're posting consistently. Second thing, which is really, really easy, is to have an email for your business, for your brand, and put that in your bio. So folks that are interested in using your platform to give you a collaboration or maybe want you to try their product and use it, they can contact you in your email. So they'll reach out to you via email. So really super simple, really easy. Have your email in your bio. People will reach out to you. And the last thing is, if you see a brand that you really enjoy, you really like, you can reach out as well. So you don't always have to wait for them to reach out to you. If you want to pitch yourself or promote yourself, find a brand you like and say, hey, I really enjoy your product. I would love to share it with my followers. What do you think about collaborating? You can get the ball rolling that way.
That's amazing. And is there like usually like a department, like would you contact like their marketing department?
So a lot of times on social media, you may be able to just DM them. So send them a direct message and it'll find its way through. If you have more time to dedicate, you can find folks on LinkedIn and they may have an influencer marketing department. They may have an influencer marketing manager. Some companies may not have influencer marketing, so it may be a bit challenging to find. But if you can find anything that has marketing in the title, you'll probably land with the right people.
Oh, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit more about Black Girls Do Reviews, because is the target that you're looking to help women of color or anybody that wanted to be an influencer? My granddaughter just got a guitar. I don't know where that's going.
For sure.
But it's exciting to see that she's got an interest in something. So do you work with just women? Do you work with...
So my target is a women of color, simply because, you know, I love the women of color community. I guess is the only way I can say it. It's just always been a passion of mine and wanting to give back to people who look like me, who have these platforms, who are influential, right? Everything I know of pretty much a Black woman or a woman of color taught me. So wanting to help those people develop their platforms as much as possible, but always eager and ready to help anyone who needs some marketing help.
So when we first introduced you, we had your picture that was you kind of being more fun, and then that picture, I told you like 3 times, that is a hot picture, and I'm very professional, right? And when we were talking a little bit about, you know, being yourself, you know, it's almost like dress for the job you want, not the one you have. So I would imagine that depending on who you want to, you know, the type of business or the company or whatever that you want to potentially be an influencer, does that matter? Like, do they look for specific?
I would say everything is about fit. So the brands are going to try to find people who fit with them, and then you want to fit with the brands that you're collaborating with as well, so that it's a successful partnership, right? So just like any relationship, you want to be good fits for each other. But I would say I don't encourage people to change who they are, right? So whoever you are, be that, and then find what fits you. Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny because some people think that they have to recreate, which is one of the things you said. Try not to do, right? But there's things that we do on a regular basis. Yeah. Like if you like tattoos, if you like, my daughter had posted something because she can't eat like peanuts, and it was like a sunflower seed something, and people were commenting on that. So when I tell you that there's room for everything and everyone, the idea is to be trustworthy.
Yes.
What else?
Authentic. So be yourself. Consistent. Number 3, you have to be consistent, always regularly doing it. And I guess the last thing is just to have fun, to actually enjoy what you're doing. If it feels like work and feels like too much, you're not going to keep it going. So have fun with it as much as possible.
While you can, because then when it becomes work and you start making money,
then it's work.
Then you are more accountable to that. Because, so last question, and then I want to find out just really quickly what's next for you. Give advice on how people can handle negative, because that's always like, it's all great because we tend to, I forgot what lesson we were doing, we were saying that when something is bad, you tell everybody.
Yeah.
When something's good, you tell but a handful of your closest.
Absolutely.
What's a tip for handling that? Some people say they don't even read them.
I read them. So I read them, and because I'm watching everything all the time, so I do read them. My biggest thing, I try to stay grounded, so I stay connected with people who know who I am outside of this phone camera screen, and know the real character of who I am. So regardless of what someone thought about what I posted, I am grounded by the people who know who I am and know what my intentions are.
And it's your truth.
Exactly. So I stay grounded with those people. They kind of keep my feet down, and keep me from going too crazy. I'll engage with negative comments to a certain extent. If something was misconstrued with what I said, I may explain that a little bit. I also don't necessarily have a problem with negative comments, because again, I'm trying to beat the algorithm, so the more comments you post actually kind of helps me in a way. So I don't necessarily always see it as a challenge, but I would think if it starts to impact your spirit and like how you actually feel, then you would try to navigate those as best as you can. So.
What's next for you, Kendra?
So for me, I'm still a marketing professional by day, but with Black Girls Do Reviews, I'm developing a accelerator kind of training program to help other folks build platforms similar to the way that I did. So carving out the resources like content calendars and 30-day content plans that'll allow people to plan out their consistent posts that I keep talking about, help them plan those out so they're now having consistent and regular posts, while also developing training courses for people so they'll learn tips, tricks, everything they need to get started, and ultimately earn money for the content that they're creating.
That's awesome. And how do folks reach you?
So the best way to reach me is on Instagram or on TikTok at Black Girls Do Reviews. My email is blackgirlsdoreviews@gmail.com. You can find me on that email or on those social media platforms, comment, direct message, email, anyway.
Kendra, it has been just absolutely amazing to have you. I wish you so much luck, and I will be one of your clients because
I love it.
We want to make sure that Puerto Ricans Girl Do's reviews.
Yes.
So we want to thank you, Kendra. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And here's how you can reach Kendra.